Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakaka Dash, double unto the apostles at GreatMillStone. I was just going through reading this, just going through, checking out some news, and this was about this Brexit thing. And this article, there was something that popped up out of this article that, I pretty much said, you know what, man, I'm going to do a video on this, and I'll show you what it is. Now, this article was frustrated PM seeks extension, because if you know what's going on, you got the EU, and Britain set to leave the EU on the 29th of March. And the House majority have rejected even having any kind of deal with the EU, so they don't know where they're at with this, whether extend, and there's all sorts of things going on. So the country's looking all over the place, and the politicians are looking childish, and people. This is what people are saying. And the country's in the shambles. Anyway, you go down. You had this pop up. It says Brexit cast the last days of Rome. Now, what I tried to do was click this link. You have to be signed into this site, and to listen to it, it was a video on a page, so I'm not really going to go to it because there was no text. But when you go into the scriptures, man, the beast system got their power from the dragon, which the dragon represents the Roman Empire, or the Roman system, and we know America is modern day Rome, and it's just spiritual, because we are, this is the modern day Rome then, and we are in the last days. We are in the last days of Rome, so I find that to be spiritual, very spiritual. You got the same system, voting, democracy, presidents, senators. Senators and stuff like that. Those, they were in Rome. The architecture of Rome, Roman pillars, it's the same system. The planets and the botanical, and most things are named after Rome. So this is the modern day Rome. So this shows you we're at the end of this system. Okay. So that was just interesting there. Now, they don't know if she's going to ask for a longer extension or not. But one thing we can agree on is that we're in the end of this system. And we are, because there's a lot of prophecies of things like this happening, with these things happening. So that's what that is. You got the 10 toes, and some are strong, some are weak, and that's the financial countries that are strong and the ones that are financially weak. And that's why there's a big turmoil with this. Now, let me actually, I'm going to get this scripture. Kingdom divided, because I love getting the scripture out on this, because that's a kingdom divided is what we're seeing, and then we see what the scripture says on this. Matthew 12 and 25, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So, the Lord is in this time bringing division, and these Edomite nations all are divided against each other in some way. What form? Russians versus Americans. Now you got divisions in Europe, and they've always had these divisions, because you had World War I, World War II, where people, they're all divided, and 1 minute one nation will fight for this, and then they'll switch and fight for that. So there's division amongst these Edomites. There was even division amongst the Rothschilds and who should rule what part. There was documentaries on that stuff. So that's the time we're in. So it was a spiritual and a sin that Brexit cast the last days of Rome. And that's what we're in, bro. We're in the last days of Rome, and we're in the upliftment of the children of Israel. Matter of fact, let me get a scripture on that, because that's what this thing's about. The Lord bringing His destruction and raising up the children of Israel. Isaiah 45:17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. And in order for our kingdom to come into place, what has to happen? There has to be the downfall of this beast system. The system that's here, okay, modern day Rome, and that's what it is. Now, like I said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on all over the world in different politics. The Brexit thing, it's something that we check out, brothers, check out in the news, to see what's going on. But like I said, they don't even know what the hell's going on. But so that's what that is. Let me go to the book of Daniel's, because there's a few scriptures you can read on this stuff. You can read Revelation 13. You can all types of scriptures. But let me keep going down and go to the point. Daniel 2:33. His legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. 35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and it's not what I want. Let me jump down to 40. Daniel 2:40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, as iron that breaketh all these things shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part is clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. So this kingdom is divided, because you've got nations. Look, Brexit, and the British are trying to be their own empire to hell with the Europe, and then you got other countries like pigs and all that that's more poorer, so they lean more on the other countries for support. But these countries are divided, man, and they're trying to pull out and not, so that's the division. It says, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with Mary clay. Okay. It says, as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. All right. So, that's what we're seeing, man. That's what's happening today. That's the fourth. This is this kingdom we're in now. Daniel, the prophecies of the kingdoms, because we're living in that time of the end. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So that's where we're at with this. This is that Esau's kingdom, man. And you got America is the whore that sat on the beast. That's the the scriptures just all fits together. If the Spirit's dealing with you to understand what's going on out here, it all fits together. The pieces of the puzzle, if you will, fit together. And now it's in Europe, like I said, you got this situation where the kingdom's divided, and it's partially strong and partially weak. Because Britain's supposed to be one of them economic strong countries, the pound and all that. Because even after World War II, I think it was World War II, they never accepted to use the euro. So they still got to use the pound, and but now, a lot of those people in the EU are looking sideways at Britain for pulling out. And You know, so there's a lot going on here. And mate, one of the things that was said, I don't know, whatever minister, whoever, because they're all over the place. But one thing that was said was to put, it was either 50 million or something like that, some kind of a sum. I can't remember the exact amount. But they're sending over there to the EU every year. They're gonna pull it out and pull it into the NHS. You know. So these Edomites are divided, man. And when you go to Alexander the Greek and his 4 generals in the book of Maccabees, he was divided then as well. He had his 4 generals and they started fighting each other. So that's what's going on here. Brexit cast, the last days of Rome. So I seen that and I said, you know what, that's spiritual right there. And we know that Rome is Babylon. Okay. And then this goes, Daniel's 2:44 shows you what's going to happen. Because this all has to happen. Because it's Bible prophecy and we have to come up. Daniel's 2:44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and destroy all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Right? Because, these Edomites were prophesied to be set up to rule by the sword, which is their nukes and their weaponries, and that's their power, man. Guns and bombs. And power was given to him to take peace from the earth, the red horse in Revelations, because that's what he does. He goes around bombing everything and destroying. And that's how he got his power. But that's all gonna get stripped when the Lord power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, the one the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai, is coming to rule on planet Earth. And that's what's going to happen. So, get ready for that. Okay? Because that's where we're going with this. Revelation 13:1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads a name of blasphemy. And that represents the power structure of Esau. Okay? Because Esau, is this last beast set up to rule over the planet Earth. That's why that's how we know that the Apocrypha is important. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay. And we go into these prophets. We go into a lot of these scriptures a lot of the times. And I saw one of the heads as it was wounded to death, and its deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. You got America boasting about having the greatest military might in the world. But their system, their power goes back to the Roman Empire. And you had something called draconian law as well. So just think about that. So, I mean, this proves that Esau knows that whoever put this together, that this is Rome. Look, the reason I click it, but it's just you can't go on the thing. So there was just no point, because you can't watch it unless you sign in or whatever. But so I don't know exactly what they're gonna say, but I just seen that title and it's on a Brexit. article, so it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, this is the last days of Rome. Because this is the modern day Roman Empire. So this definitely is the last days of Rome. So, you know, dig that. You know. And that's the judgment, man. The judgment. When you read Revelation, the 18th chapter and all that, there's whole chapters and verses dedicated on this system being destroyed, NATO and the EU, which is the beast system. That's what this system is. This kingdom that we're living in is not no great world pearly kingdom. Look up to these Edomites there. No. This is the land of the devils. And all they do is destroy, rape, and murder the earth. And anybody that has got a problem with that, then you ain't right in the spirit, you know. And that's the facts. That's the facts. How did they get the land? By, rape, robbery, and murder. And you've had World War I, World War II. So this world is full of a bunch of warmongers. And then you know what, man? There's gonna be a third world war, according to the scriptures. And we've seen it playing out. And matter of fact. After these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And John got these things on the island of Patmos. So this is not talking about ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon was already, done away with, so to speak. So you Edomites are the modern day Babylonians, and Babylon represents America. Babylon the Great, when you read Revelation 18. So this place is going down, man, according to prophecy. So that was the article, and the Lord sets people up. The Lord set these people up. They're prophesying against themselves, man. With that, anyway, I'm going to say shalom.